What's up, you beautiful collectors and Transformer fans? Thanks for tuning in. Once again, it is the one and only Optibotimus coming at you with another video review. And I know I kind of sort of said that I was going to retire, but you know, there's certain things that I have to finish, right? I can't just leave without doing all the Constructicons. I can't just leave without doing all the aerial bots. I can't just leave without doing all of the primes. And this one I was not necessarily expecting to show up quickly, but this was on Amazon and I picked it up. It is the Transformers Age of the Primes Voyager class APLHA Trion, which, as I've talked about many times before, I love the whole lore of the primes. I think it's really very cool, and what they've done with the aligned continuity and all that kind of stuff is really very cool. APLHA Trion was originally released or originally introduced to us in the G1 cartoon, but there wasn't a lot of fleshed out backstory to him. Starting off as A3, the character of A3, he evolved to become APLHA Trion. APLHA Trion, as many of you know, I think it's like War Dawn or something like that. The aerial bots go back in time and meet APLHA Trion, and APLHA Trion is there in the aerial bots. Also meet Orion Pax, who eventually becomes Optimus Prime. They become friends and everything, and then when Orion Pax is basically killed, they take him to APLHA Trion, and APLHA Trion creates him as Optimus Prime. So that's where we got a lot of that backstory there. But it wasn't until the aligned continuity came around that really fleshed out a lot more, both in terms of APLHA Trion as well as the primes. And I think what they did was really very cool. It connects so much more, makes a whole lot more sense. It was difficult, I would say, because, you know, a lot of that backstory and stuff back in the day, it doesn't always necessarily translate. They got to figure out how to connect things that weren't designed to connect. But I think they did a great job. And for the figure, the nice thing, what we see for APLHA Trion here is his younger self for the most part. A lot of times we see APLHA Trion with his big goatee, his mustache and stuff. This is a younger version of him, basically how he, for the most part, looked when the aerial bots met him, which I think that's really cool. I like that they did that. Gorgeous packaging, though. You got the window box there, his vehicle mode. You got him holding the Covenant of Primus as well as the Quill, which the Covenant of Primus allows for the story of Primus and Cybertron, realistically, to be known both past and future. And he's able to write in it with the Quill, which that's his relic. You got a gorgeous image of him there. Side here, you got the statues of him. You got the back section here with the Quill, as well as the Covenant of Primus, him able to write it, which I think is fantastic. He can also take off his Autobot logo, which is a throwback to the scene when we first meet A3, APLHA Trion, right? A3, yeah, you get it. He takes it off and it released some kind of energy or something like that. But you got the vehicle mode right there, which looks really good. Very excited, of course. I had to go digging through my collection to find the chair here that I've been showing with all of these primes, because I have seen that Onyx has been hitting, as well as Micronus, which both of those I'm actively looking for. So, but we got APLHA Trion on today's episode. So without further ado, let's get him out here and see how cool he actually is. Alright guys, so here we have the APLHA Trion opened up out of its packaging and in his robot mode. And yes, the throne is here. And this is his Prime Master. You can see that's his logo, if it'll focus, but it maybe won't. That's his Prime Master, or whatever you want to call it. And then you open him up and ta-da! There he is, little man. I don't understand. He doesn't look anything like this guy. Like, why yellow? There's no yellow on him. Even this is... why yellow? That doesn't make any sense to me. So we're going to put that guy right back up there. And here we have APLHA Trion. And this guy really is extremely well done. He's dense. He's a thickum for sure, like the plastic. You can see especially here in the legs. It's kind of hollow, but not hollow, right? I mean, it's like honeycomb, but it still works pretty good. The other thing, like with the Covenant of Primus and the Quill, there's a couple different things that you can do. You got a little nub here in the back that you can have him hold on to. Same thing with the Quill, but you can also kind of fit this in his hand as if he's holding it like that. I think that looks a lot more realistic. And then with the Quill, they want you to kind of like have him as if he's like writing like this. If you open up the hand a little bit, you can kind of put that in there and just kind of rest it, and it makes it look a lot more natural in terms of him writing on there, which is really cool. So I really dig that. But setting that there, taking a look, you can see that he's got his logo right on the inside there, as all of these figures on their artifact, they have the logo on there, which matches with that guy. I do not know what that says. If somebody can translate that, I'd be eternally grateful. I'm actually kind of impressed that they got a couple pages on here. That's actually kind of cool. So you got two internal pages that are kind of a clearish red, which looks really cool. And then you got this, and I don't know what that logo is, but you can close that. It's the Covenant of Primus. Kind of wish that there was something on the outside of it too. The quill itself, as you can see, it's obviously in the shape of like a feather and things like that. And then this is the section that, you know, I'm going to write the future. There it is. So you do have those. These bits here are also separate in the package. You can pop these off. They just plug in there, so you can remove those if you want to. But that gives a more filled out look for them. I don't know why they didn't just leave that on there. And then on the back section, this part detaches. This is also kind of like a shield. This separate the pegs in there like really securely. Pull that out. There we go. You can see that the peg locks into the back section. Yeah. And then there's a tab that locks it in. But you can make this into a shield if you want to, and you can have him use that. You got the ports on the side of his forearm, so if you wanted to do that as a shield, you could do that as well. Pointless to me, to be honest. I'm just going to leave it here. Peg that in. Push that all the way. Oh, are you even going into the hole? Come on. There we go. Get on in there. There we go. And then sandwich it in there. And then you can bring this down, give that a good push, and that'll actually, theoretically, because there's tabs that are here, that these little bits lock in to these. So you got little hole sections. I guess really, no, yeah, that actually did it. But I like that because that kind of gives him a little bit more of a cape, which he had, which realistically, that's the only thing that I would say that's missing on him is that. But when you have him in this kind of configuration, it looks like he has it. This Autobot logo does come out. However, I have not been able to get it out yet. I mean, it's a fairly solid tab bit, but I'm just gonna leave it in there. But that does remove, and then it has the 9mm hole. So like if you wanted to close his hand up, you can lift it up and have him signaling. It's what like turned off the Robo Guardians or something like that in that one episode. That I don't remember, but that was before he was APLHA TRION. That was when he was still A3. But I like that they put that in there. All the way around, this guy looks really good. Now, I have resisted buying new APLHA TRION figures, although I'm really kind of disappointed that I did not get that one that came out with Optimus and Orion packs, because it came with Vector Sigma and I believe like the key for Vector Sigma. In one of the episodes of G1, he was the protector of the key for Vector Sigma, which Vector Sigma gives life to all Transformers, things like that. I regret buying that 2-pack set mostly because I wanted that Vector Sigma. Now, they released the Vector Sigma years ago with the BotCon exclusive APLHA Trion. I had that, no longer have that. So I gotta get the Vector Sigma in the key. I gotta figure out what to do to get that back in my collection. But this guy is extremely well done, and like I said, I've had a hard time buying APLHA Trions for the longest time because I have in my collection, and I wish I could show it to you guys. I've shown it before in previous videos, but it's a I don't think it's a Figuarts one. Maybe it's a Figuarts. I don't really remember. But he's a non-transform. He's an officially licensed product, but he does not transform. APLHA Trion never transformed canonically in Transformers. Initially, I should say. And that figure that I have is fully articulated. You can have them both looking like this, and you can swap out parts to make him look like his older self as well. I think that this is the best looking young version of APLHA Trion that we've ever gotten. So this is 100% going to go in my display next to that older version of him. I think that they look great, or I think that they'll look great together. Colors on this guy are fantastic. Gorgeous purple, this deep red, like taking a look at that head sculpt. I mean, that is a fantastic head sculpt. You can see the makings of what he would become. That's absolutely fantastic. The only parts I really are lacking the paint would be like his thighs, these little bits here. But all in all, really very happy with how this guy turned out. Now, transformation, even though he's a Voyager, he's still fairly simplistic, but fun to do. First, we're going to take his head. We're going to just point that back like so, and then lift these arms up and fold his hands down into his forearms. Oh, I didn't go through the articulation. That was actually something that I wanted to talk about. The articulation is great on this guy. Everything on him is extremely well done. Except he doesn't have wrist rotation. It just is on a hinge. That's the only part that really kind of sucks about him. If you separate this from that back, he does have waist articulation, but this little bit here does kind of get in the way of things. So you do have that, and then you also do, just as part of the transformation, have an ab crunch, which is actually really cool. So going back to this, standard articulation. I mean, you got ankle tilt and all that stuff. So we're going like that, we're going like that. You can, if you also want to, like bring those all the way up, which looks good, but he had them kind of bent. So bring those up just like so. Then this piece here, we're going to pull this away and then come around here to the back. This will separate, come out, and cover up his head. So he does kind of have visible forehead syndrome, I suppose you could say. When you have it up like this, you're going to rotate him at the waist all the way around, thusly. Then all this is just going to kind of stay there. Take the feet, heels are going to tuck underneath, and then you can point the toes. Do that on this side as well. Heels, toes, very tight joints. Then you want to rotate him at the thigh, like so, and then you can connect the legs right down the middle. Maybe, there we go. Sandwich all of that nicely. Very nice, very nice. Get these kind of out of the way. Then you got these little pieces right here. These are going to separate. They're actually kind of tight and tough to do. Bring them up like so. And then I think, no, yeah, you just leave it like that. Just bring those up. So again, pull that up and out. And then you take this entire section here and then you bring this down. And then bring these out and rotate them. Bring these out and rotate them. Then you bring the waist into it, and then you bring this all the way down, and this will click into place. Now, I've seen other people do videos on this. These don't lock into anything. You just want to have them straight, and there's a tab underneath there which kind of lines up with things, but it doesn't really lock it. So it just kind of sits there, but as long as you have it there, that's perfectly fine. Then you want to take these, rotate these guys, and then these are going to sandwich down and in, and then lock right up there. Do that on this side, rotate that, bring this in. This will lock along the side right there. Keep everything nice and squeezed together. And then these, you can open these. These are kind of tricky because you got a little tab here that lines up, and then you got a tab section there. Literally, you just kind of have to, it's a little bit darker in here than normal. So you just bring all this together. Bring that together. Something like that. Why is that not lining up? Let's see. There's like that. There we go. Locked in nicely. And there you have APLHA TRION in his vehicle mode. Now, obviously, you have all these different ports and everything like that, so you can put the Covenant right there. You can take the Quill. He's got these little slots. I'm trying to see where there would be a slot section. Probably somewhere. I don't know. There we go. No, just, who cares? Just leave it there. One thing that's actually kind of cool is you can open this guy. And it kind of, I don't know, again, I don't know if they designed it this way, but there's like a cavity in here. So you can take like put that in there. It doesn't really close. Oh, no, it kind of closes all the way. If you wanted to have them sit in it, you're definitely not going to be able to do that. Although there is a big giant gap down there. So maybe, I'm knocking things loose. So you have that gap that's there. I wonder if you can just fit his legs. Oh, that's gonna be a negative. But I mean, you can kind of sort of do something like that. Keep that. I'm messing all this stuff up, knocking everything loose. But the overall design on this guy is again really cool. For a character that historically never transformed, this looks great. And it's similar to some of the spaceships and the jets that we've gotten previously for APLHA TRION in terms of his transformations. I mean, it's not to say that we haven't had transforming versions of APLHA TRION in the past. We absolutely have. But this looks good. I'm pleased with it. A lot of these I'm not going to display in vehicle mode. They're going to stay in their robot modes, which I think is perfectly fine, unless, except for maybe Onyx. I mean, because Onyx just looks badass as a beast. So there he is. There is the one and only APLHA TRION. You can open these up, but that looks dumb. I guess it kind of makes it look like these are thrusters, I guess, but you expose that. I think it looks better like that. Oh, we can have these be air brakes. Fuck off. Yeah, I said it. I don't care. But there you go, there you go, guys. There's my look at the new Transformers Age of the Primes Voyager class APLHA TRION. Now, like I said, I picked mine up off of Amazon. He's in stock now. I'll put a link down in the video description if you guys want to swing on over there. Take a look at that. Add him to your collection. I would imagine he's going to be showing up in stores and everything relatively soon. So whatever you guys want to do, like I said, I have links down there where you can click on things and pick this guy up. But there you go. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button. If you're watching this video, you should do that automatically. That's just an automatic thing. Do that for me, please. Please, guys. But until next time, this is Optibotimus saying adios, au revoir, and I'll be the same.